Hey guys, so I'm coming at you with actually a story time. I wasn't even gonna vlog today because we were just traveling home, but instead I'm gonna tell you a fun story. So we were leaving Barcelona this morning. Our flight left at I think 12:05 in the afternoon. Um, and then so we had our flight from Barcelona to Stockholm, and then we had about like a 2 hour, 1 to 2 hour layover, something like that. And then we were supposed to get on a flight from Stockholm to JFK in New York so we could go home. And so we took our flight from Barcelona and we got to Stockholm, but our Barcelona flight was like a little delayed, but like delayed as in like 20 minutes, like nothing too crazy. And so we get off the flight and we're like walking, and of course, like the next terminal we have to go to get on our next flight is like obviously, of course, on the other side of the airport. And so we're walking there as fast as we can. I mean, our flight just, got off. So we're walking to the terminal as fast as we can. And then we tried checking in at the little kiosk thing. And unfortunately, we couldn't check in online because they needed to see our passports because I guess we were traveling back to the US. And so we tried one of those like self manual like kiosk things that they usually ask you to do. We tried checking in with that and that didn't work. So we were like, all right, we're just gonna have to go and wait in line and actually do the check-in. I'm sorry, I'm like getting a really gross sinus cold, so I'm like a mess and a half. But anyways, we weren't checking in any baggage either. So we were like, all right, this should be a breeze. Like we just gotta check in, run through security, and then we can go ahead and board our flight. So we're waiting in this line, and of course, so we were taking Norwegian Airlines from Stockholm to JFK. Never ride them; they freaking suck. And I will get to this in a moment. This is like a Superwoman rant video, like how she did her rant on like Canada or Air Canada. This is like a rant on Norwegian Air.
Oh my god, why?
Anyways, so we were like waiting in that line, which the line was ridiculous, first of all, because they only had two people at the little desk things to like check people in, which is like absurd. So we're waiting in line and we're checking the time and we have what?
Is your phone not doing that?
Anyways, so we're like waiting in this absurd line. We're checking the time because we want to make sure we're okay. We still have like a good 45 minutes to go. Like, and this is like, like good 45 minutes to go. Like, we're up at this thing checking in. So, not like 45 minutes from the time we got into this ridiculous line. Like, 45 minutes after we're like at this dude at the check in desk to check in and then get on our plane. And the guy is like trying to like scan our passports and he's like, oh, I can't let you in. And we were like, what do you mean you can't let us in? He's like, oh, well, we don't check people in until like an hour before the flight leaves. And we were like, we just got off our connecting flight. Like, we didn't stop to do anything. We didn't even pee, you guys. Like, we literally got off of our flight from Barcelona, ran straight to this terminal, and are like waiting in line because they don't have any of their life together for this airline. And so we're standing there, we're waiting to get there, and then we still have like 45 minutes to go, right? Like, no airline has ever stopped check-in an hour before departure. Like, if anything, it's like maybe half an hour before, which totally makes sense, but an hour, like, who the hell does that? They only ask you to come in 2 hours before anyways. And so we're like, what are you talking about? Like, we still have time to literally go through security and we get onto our flight. And he's like, I can't do it. The system won't let me in. And then we were like, so what are we supposed to do? And then he was like, oh, well, you can go over that, like over there. And he like points up to us this like, I guess, customer service thing. And he's like, they can help you. And like, no apology, just nothing. He's just like, you have to go over there. And we're like, all right, I still don't understand what the problem is because we're literally at this check-in desk. It would have probably taken 2 minutes to check us in. We had our passports out. He literally just had to like quickly print our boarding passes. Security was literally right next to it. The line wasn't even that long, so we could have just gotten right into it, gone straight to our gate and like been on our flight. But no, he couldn't let us in. So we have to go and wait for this customer service thing. And it wasn't even just us. This other lady also got kicked off of the same flight because she was too late, and she was actually on our same connecting flight as well, and she was there earlier than we were, and they wouldn't let her on the flight either. So we were like, what the actual hell? So we're waiting this customer service thing, and like, so me and my sister are just like sitting with our luggage like on the side, and our parents are like gonna fight this thing out. So we're like going over there, and they basically were like, no, we can't do anything. Not like, they didn't even apologize, they wouldn't even call a supervisor over. Like, my parents were literally just like, we have all of our stuff, like literally everything's ready to go, we took a connecting flight, like we came straight here, and it's absolutely ridiculous for you to not let us onto this plane, regardless of the fact, like, this airline sucks in general. Like, there's so many other issues with it, like they don't feed you on the plane or give you even like water, like that's besides the point. But they just also have the worst customer service ever. Like, we went there and they were just like, no, we can't do anything. Whereas in a normal situation, like for example, if you were in the US and you had a connecting flight or something, if you missed your connection because of another flight delay, they will be like, okay, I'm sorry you missed this flight, but let me book you onto the next flight. That's usually, like, every single airline does that. If you miss your connection for whatever reason, they will usually just connect you for free, like, regardless. And so that was exactly the case for us. And they basically were like, no, they didn't apologize. They didn't even check to see what the next like flights were. They weren't even like, sorry, we can't pay for it, but you know, here's your here's the next available flight. If you want me to, I can book it for you. They didn't even do that. They were like, we can't do anything. I'm not calling my supervisor. Bye. They didn't help. They didn't do anything. So we were like sitting in this corner just like Googling to see when the next flight timings are. And they're all like obscene prices, of course, because we're trying to fly out ASAP because we're not supposed to be here in Stockholm. Like, we were just supposed to be here for like maybe 20 minutes tops and then get on a plane and go home. And I'm like, I have a sinus cold. All I want to do is go and cuddle in my bed. And we're stuck here in Stockholm. So basically, long story short, we ended up finding another flight that my dad ended up booking like through his phone, like at the airport. We booked on this flight, and then we had to get a hotel here in the airport. I'm literally at Stockholm Airport in their hotel room, but it's a pretty nice hotel. So we had to spend the night here because our flight leaves tomorrow morning. It's just been like a whole entire issue. Word of advice here, don't fly Norwegian Airlines. They will probably screw you over and feel absolutely no remorse. So, you know, we're stuck in this airport trying to get home. They wouldn't even help us. And here's the thing, we even tried calling their customer service, like even though their check-in desk thing, it wasn't just Norwegian. I think it was like a third-party customer service. So we called Norwegian's customer service and they didn't answer. They were like, well, we aren't able to take your call right now. So you couldn't do that. I tweeted at them and I even DM'd them, didn't get an answer there. And then I think my dad even called our confirmation, didn't answer there. So basically, yes, they are a cheap airline, but like, they're probably the shittiest of cheap airlines I've ever seen. Like, we've flown a ton of cheap airlines in the past. We've flown a few through the US and they're not that bad. Well, it depends on which ones. But then we also flew a few of these cheap airlines while we were here in Europe. Like, we took EasyJet, which actually was really not that bad at all. Vueling, which was our first flight from, I'm sorry, I'm like losing it. Vueling, which was our first flight from Barcelona to Stockholm. That was also a wonderful flight. So yeah, we haven't really had that many issues, but Norwegian is absolutely terrible, so don't fly with them. But I'm gonna be heading home tomorrow, and I really need to because I'm so sick. So yeah, I wasn't supposed to vlog today, but today has just been, it's been a day, so I felt like giving you a story time.